You are now tuned in to The Money Zone with your host, Folasade, the accountant for entrepreneurs.
You know I can't hear anything.
Time is now, your future waits, your money matters.
Are you playing any music?
No mistake, it's not too late to dominate, so don't delay. Get your money straight. The money zone. Together we'll achieve your goals. We're building wealth, you're not alone. So don't delay, get your money straight.
Are we live? Hey guys, welcome to the Money Zone. Welcome to actually 2021, guys. I am so excited and so blessed to be alive, living, and here with you at this particular moment. So look, what better way to start the new year off by having an amazing guest coming on the show right at the right time, because the guest that we have today, Miss Star B, she is the creator of the Prosperity Wealth Building Group, and she focuses on budgeting, savings, and all of that amazing stuff. And this time, January, is the time that each and every one of us is supposed to create our budgets, create our savings plan, and really set and be intentional about our financial goals, guys. So do me a favor, if you're watching this on any social media platform, please take a minute and share the video. Let them know we're talking about stocks, investing, budgeting, and just building generational wealth right now where you are in your particular lives. So just take a minute, grab your pen and your paper, share the video. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Money Zone of 2021, guys. I lie to you not. 2021 is going to be much better than 2020 because we know that we have to definitely be intentional about everything that we do, right? 2020 we thought was going to be the year. Everybody wrote down their multi-million-dollar goals, and then COVID hit. I understand. I went through it. I had to fight myself. So I know each and every one of you are kind of like on the fence on whether or not you should plan, whether or not you should prepare, and whether or not you should just be extremely intentional about your finances in 2021. Because as we learned in 2020, nothing is guaranteed but death and taxes. Okay, that's all we learned in 2020. Well, no, we learned way more than that, right? But one of the main things is that only thing guaranteed in life is death and taxes. And I'm sorry to say that because we had so many deaths. So my condolences go out to all the families that have suffered any losses, any pain, any financial strife, any type of misery of any sort from 2020. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. I wish I can hold and love you, but guess what? God does not make any mistakes. We just have to make the best out of it. So look, tonight's guest goes right alongside the two main principles that I have for 2021, which is sacrifice, okay, and intentions. Like you have to be intentional, okay? With certain intentions, you can be very strategic, okay? And if you're willing to sacrifice a bit, you can achieve anything, right? And so that saying goes the same for finances. If you guys start to sacrifice now, right, you will be able to gain and build generational wealth. All right? No. So with tonight's guest, if you guys can help me welcome Miss Star B to the Money Zone, guys. She is she focuses on female entrepreneurs, and she helps them
Hi, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? She helped you budget, save, and build generational wealth, guys, through the stock market. So I know, especially with Tesla and Apple and this cryptocurrency, right? With all of the posts on social media, all of you are curious as to how to build generational wealth through the stock market. So what better way to start the new year off, guys, with somebody that's going to help you learn how to budget, okay? On top of my knowledge, but also on a deeper and higher level than where I can go into in the stock market. Guys, I'm curious. I've been dibbling and dabbling a little bit in stocks. I've been playing around. You know, I'm a novice at it. You know, I'm on, you know, I know how to read the financial statements now. I know what to invest in. I just don't know all of the intricacies and everything that's involved with it. So help me welcome Star to the Money Zone. So I think she's having some technical difficulties. I think she's having some technical difficulties because she's talking with the producer of the studio on Rip Radio right now. So guys, let's just give her a few minutes to get her internet connection going and her sound going, and then we'll help welcome her to the Money Zone. So while we're waiting for her, guys, it is so much happening. Tax season is about to start. We don't have an official date yet. If I would have known an official date, you guys would have heard about it here first on the Money Zone. So while we're waiting for Star, all of you that are interested in applying for the PPP loan, tomorrow is your big day. That's when all of the banks, all of the lenders should now open up their application for you guys to go in and apply for your PPP loan. Just to be upfront with you guys, they're going to give priority to first-time filers and businesses that did not receive the PPP on the first round. They are going to give individuals that receive the PPP on the first round funding, but you have to meet a certain criteria, okay? So the criteria is that your business had to suffer at least a 25% loss from the quarters from 2019 up until 2020 to get to fully qualify. So they haven't specified what they're going to require, what additional paperwork yet. But so far from what I'm seeing, they're not requiring any paperwork for existing PPP filers with no changes in your income. So if your income stayed the same, your business was profitable, right? There were no changes. Your application was easy breezy. But if your business drastically changed, that's where I'm a bit uncertain. So I look forward to hearing what my clients' responses would be and what our responses would be when we go in to help our clients prepare for the and file for their PPP. Okay, so that's the PPP. So tomorrow, 13th, every bank will be open. I'm going to do a shout out. Dante at blacknews.com. He is the first lender that was approved to offer the PPP. So you guys want to definitely check him out. And I should have gotten a link before I even came on here because I didn't even know I was going to put him out there. But I'll put the link in the comments if any of you want to know how to go and get funding from him at blacknews.com, the owner over there. Then I'll put the link when I'm done with tonight's show. But this is actually an opportunity for all of us. If he do well, and all of the individuals that he lend money to, if they repay the loan, he can expand and open up doors and opportunities for all of you. So that's the PPP. Okay. If you are a Maryland business owner, they have released some changes. Well, not even changes. So they've implemented quite a bit of tax extenders. Okay. So if your tax return for January include withholding tax, sales tax that you're collecting for your employees or from your clients or your customers right now in January, February, March, and April. Look, I've been teaching Bryce his stuff. So yeah. Okay. So if you withheld sales tax or withholding tax from your employees or your customers from January 2021 up until April 15th, 2021, then you do not have to file and pay your sales tax or withholding tax at the moment. You get to extend that payment until April 15th, 2021. Okay, so let me repeat that. Sales tax due for the month of January is normally due February, right? Okay, you don't have to make that payment in the state of Maryland. They extended it until April. So guys, if you have any questions, because I wasn't prepared to really talk about that today, so that's why it's kind of brief. But if you have any questions at all about the Maryland changes, I'm actually dissecting it right now. Can you guys see? You see my highlights? See my highlights? I'm dissecting it right now so I can have my team create something for you guys, some type of chart or something, so you can have that for your reference. Okay, I think Star is good to go, guys. So we're gonna welcome her on the Money Zone. Star, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Look, when we about to change the people's lives, there's always some type of technical difficulties. I don't know what it is, and you do sound really good too.
Thank you. Keep letting me know throughout the show because somebody is trying to stop us from doing this today.
Girl, that's always the case. So, because I know you got some juice for the people, because based on what I read on your website and stuff, girl, you don't only just do the budgeting and the saving and all of that. You really teach us women how to now use that savings that we budgeted for, okay, and use that to be able to invest into the stock market and other areas. So I'm just like so pumped up because I've been getting my feet wet, girl, into the stock market. Not a lot now, but just playing a little bit. And so I know my audience and all my moms, all my dads, all my entrepreneurs, we're in the mindset right now of building generational wealth. So if you can just start off by just telling the people about your financial history, your background in terms of the industry, so they can understand and know that you are an expert in this discussion, and then I'll just go right on in after that.
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So I appreciate the opportunity to come and share. So my name is Star Malone. I'm the founder of a financial consulting agency called She Building Her, and so we focus on helping women build strategic plans to reach their short and long term financial goals. And so yes, we do it through budgeting, saving, debt repayment, planning for retirement, and then stock market investing. So a little bit about me. I'm a California native, so I grew up in the Bay Area. I'm still based in the Bay Area. Bay Area being the San Francisco Bay Area. And I actually, my degree is in microbiology. So I started out as a biopharmaceutical microbiologist in corporate America. So I was in that role forever. And honestly, the what got me, I guess, like, not even excited, but kind of made me, propelled me into this industry was that, I was in corporate. I was the only Black woman, only Black person, really, especially in my fields, right? It was mostly white men, Asian men, and I had all these coworkers, and on paper we were the same degree, same, job responsibilities, same pay. Supposedly, we know how that goes.
Mhm.
Our offices were next to each other, but while I was just making good money, they were like building wealth, and so they would have these very candid conversations about investing and money all the time. And it got to a point where I felt like the stereotype, right? Like I felt
Mhm.
like I didn't know anything about what they were saying. And of course, they would explain it to me because they were my friends, but I was just super insecure. I felt like I just didn't even belong in that space. I was always trying to, like, just praying to God nobody said anything to me and asked me any questions because I didn't want them to know that
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. And so I just like kind of went down this journey of self education. And as I got deeper into it, then I went and got some more, formal education with asset management and stuff like that. But it really just started out from just a desire to not be that only Black person in a room that don't know nothing, right?
Mhm.
And then I just started transforming my life. I got on a strict budget. I started saving, then I started investing, then it transferred over to like me doing it for my sister and her friends and my mom and my aunts and then friends of the family. And then before I knew it, the way I was translating the information and making it so relatable, it
Mhm.
just literally the business built itself. And so about almost 2 years ago, I stepped out of corporate America. I was making multiple six figures in this job, stepped out, and I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to serve my calling, and my calling is to really explain or educate women about, you know tools, like wealth
Yeah.
building tools, and then the stock market is just my favorite. Like that is just my jam because they work so hard to keep us out. I think it's just that rebellious spirit in me, like, we ain't having this, right?
Yeah.
Like this information can be explained a lot easier. You're just choosing to make it hella hard for no reason. So
Mm.
that's just kind of how I got into it.
I love it. So, guys, basically, to sum things up from basically what Star is saying, first of all, she was sick of the unknown. Okay, she was tired of being in the room and didn't understand what they were saying, didn't understand the jargon, didn't, and she felt left out. Like how many of us right now, or years ago, wanted to build generational wealth and didn't know where to start. But what she did differently is that her curiosity was piqued. And then that's what got her on this journey, guys. So the first step is just being sick of the unknown. And then the second thing is to get curious enough to start to want to digest all of this amazing information. So from your perspective, Star, how far is the disparities between blacks and whites in terms of our investing from what you've seen in your experience?
Just specifically investing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a world apart. I remember reading a statistic I posted on one of my social media pages. It would take the average Black family 220 years to catch up with the wealth of an average white family.
I
And
saw.
yeah, and so, and you if you think about it, that's if the white family is not growing as the Black families are growing, right? But that's not realistic. So it is just literally generations apart, like generations on generations apart. And I think, you know, I think because white people are just more comfortable with money. That's just the bottom line. They're more comfortable with, like, even if um they weren't necessarily taught about it growing up, which most of them were, but even if they weren't, they are more likely to take a risk early on in life, early 20s, college years, right?
Yeah.
And so even if they weren't taught about it, at some point early on, they're going to try to get their feet wet because they will take the risk. Whereas black people in general, and I don't mean to,
Yeah.
but usually black people will not take that risk. They feel like it's a gamble. They prefer to see their money. They want to hold on to it. And then a lot of times it's simply just because those wealth and income gaps do exist. And a lot of times we're just trying to make ends meet, right? Which
Yes.
is why all investing starts with a budget, right?
Yeah. And you know what? That goes right into my next question to you, because it seemed like you strategically said budgeting, saving, debt management, debt repayment, and then you also said that's when you said stock investments. Okay, so this is it, girl. We jiving right now because that goes right into my question. So is it your belief? Because as a Dave Ramsey ELP as well, and I do believe that, like, you really can't really invest until you are financially free in terms of debt. But do you believe that it takes a certain level of discipline to go through that layer of I'm gonna say sacrifice, financial sacrifice, which is the first thing, that budget? Um,
Go ahead.
Did I? Oh, I didn't lost my whole little train. Then went to the whole. Okay, so do you believe that it takes a strong level of financial sacrifice to be able to flow through the different layers that it takes for you to be in the position to invest? And if that is the case, can you give us 3 examples or illustrations of areas that we may have to sacrifice, but it don't have to be so detrimental?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to just, so I go against the grain a little bit when it comes to this, okay? So most people that you run into that are in the finance industry, they will tell you, what's the point of investing if you're in debt, right? Like, you need to get rid of this high interest debt before you start investing, blah, 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 blah. I don't preach that. I don't preach that. I believe that everyone, before they start investing, they definitely need a budget, because the reality is you don't want to invest something into the stock market that needs to stay there for 5, 10 years. Um, you don't want to invest your car note, you know what I mean, and then have to pull it out, potentially lose money, and then pay your car note or your light bill with it. Like, you need a budget to understand how much you can even invest
Yeah.
specifically in the stock market. But when it comes to the rest of it, like, there's 2 things that will get stock market investing put on somebody's to-do list and never get to done. That's what I say, right?
Yeah.
And the 2 things that you can tell a person is, A, they need to be completely financially stable. So no debt, no, have a retirement plan, saving budget, and then you invest. That will get, okay, cool. Investing is on their to-do list. It'll never get to done. The second thing you can tell a person is you need to research the company, make sure the business fundamentals are there, make sure it makes sense, blah, blah, blah. There's okay, investing is going to be put on their to-do list and it'll never get to done. So the thing is, a lot of people get I call it analysis paralysis, right? Because they're telling you that you need to have all these things in place before you start investing. I come from a different perspective because the women that I've worked with, like I said, they're a lot of times trying to make ends meet, not because they're irresponsible, because income disparities really do exist in, period, in the world, not even just in the States. But so my thing is, look, hey, you have, like, I know one woman was like, should I pay off my, $80,000 in student loans prior to investing in the stock market? Hell no. Them student loans going to be there whether you investing or not. So if you're avoiding your student loans now, because most people are, if you're avoiding those student loans now, or you're making the minimum payment, I'm not going to say, hey, you need to go ahead and make the student loan industry even richer by paying off $80,000 before you put anything into your own livelihood, into your own future, or invest in your own future. No, you need to go ahead and invest some of that in the stock market. period, point blank. Like, I'm not going to say you need to pay off, $100,000 in credit card debt. You do need to pay it off for sure. But do I think that you should make the credit card companies and the banks rich before you put anything aside to secure your own wealth? No, I don't. So a lot of people like Dave Ramsey and even Rich Dad Poor Dad, a lot of these people come from a perspective that's different from the audience that I serve. That's not the audience that I serve. You know what I'm saying? So no, I don't think that people need to have all of these elements in place or all this blah, blah, blah. No, if you can open up a Robinhood, a E-Trade, a Fidelity account, whatever you got, put you some money in the stock market. All your bills are still gonna be your bills. All your debt is still gonna be your debt. Get something in place to pay it, but put you something in the stock market. Go ahead and do that.
I love it. I love it. And the reason why I love it is, first of all, we come from a different background, a different perspective, and we have to adjust to the client accordingly. And I realized that in our community per se, we just don't have it that straightforward. We always, majority of the times, until they get financially free, have to maneuver, pivot, just jump over, cross, do jump ropes and tilt, to get
100%.
yes. So I love it, because I don't agree with that either, because I actually have student loan debt, but I invest into the stock market. You understand? There's nothing that I can do with the amount of debt that I have right now. It's getting paid, but they can forgive that. I don't want to,
100. No,
but
I think that's like the critical thing to recognize, like you just said. We're starting, our baselines, us and other communities, our baselines are not the same. We're not coming from the same point of reference, right? So all the blueprints that you see, most of them are not geared toward us and our point of reference. That's just the reality of the situation.
I love it. And so in this particular case, let me just go ahead and just throw a little jab. So in this particular, your blueprint does, right?
For sure. For sure. Because
can you give me an example of like one of your customers that have basically went through like your blueprint that was of our background, like kind of like a beta, an example of a client that you experienced that had some depth and you took them through your processes. What was their outcome?
So I'm gonna tell you, all my clients are Black women. Okay, She Building Her created 100 new investors in 2020. That was my goal. I said I want 100 new women investors, and I want 100 women leaving with a will and testament in place, because that's another thing we don't do, estate planning, right? So I want 100 new investors, and I want 100 women leaving with a will in place. I think I reached like 60 for the will, but I got the 100 for the investment side of my goals. What I do is not a get rich quick situation. So it's not like in a year you're going to work with me for a year and then boom, you're a millionaire. No, that's not it. But what I can say is, and this is what I post on my page all the time, if you go to my Instagram, I have a thing that says like testimonial or experience or something like that. What they feel is empowered. What they feel is they don't feel the need to avoid their finances, because everybody runs from the bill collectors. They don't even want to start a budget because they don't want to know where they're really at, because they scared to find out that they're doing worse, than they are. So my women, basically, they just, when they come to me, just from A to Z, it's more so a, hey, usually our first 2 meetings are more like therapy sessions. We're dealing with so much trauma. We're dealing with so much uncertainty. We're dealing with a lack of confidence. We're dealing with, a lot of women come to me 45 years old, like, I'm embarrassed because I didn't know this, or I've never done this, or I can't believe, or I just, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, look, sis, first of all, nobody set you down and taught you this and you just decided to not listen, right? You haven't been taught. You're the norm in our situation. You are the norm. So the first couple of sessions is usually therapy sessions, because they want to unload the traumas. Oh, I never wanted a budget because, when I was little, or I come from a family with a lot of siblings, and anytime I have money, and my family knew or my mom knew about it, I had to give it to the household. So now I don't want to write down what I have on paper because I have this thing about people knowing how much money I have that it makes me, I don't want nobody to know how much money I have, because I feel like as soon as they do, I'm going to have to help my family, or I'm going to have to do this or do that, or somebody's going to want something from me. So there's a lot of traumas, a lot of layers of things that go on, right? So the first step is always the budget. Like, look, I get it. We gonna listen. I'm gonna empathize, but that's not gonna change the fact that you need a budget, right? Like, that's it. And then when you create that budget, don't create it according to, what everything should be. Do it according to who you are. I tell people all the time, hey, you smoke weed? How much weed do you buy in a month? Okay, put that on your budget. Okay. Do you go to the club? If you go to the club, I'm gonna need you to put that in the budget. Like, the point of a budget
Yes.
early on is just to be is just to give you a clear point of reference of what you're spending and where you're spending it. It's not to be super restrictive. It's not to, it's not going to fix your life overnight. Like, you just need to be able to account for where your money is going, right? So you make the budget, you get better and better and better as you go along. You've decided, like, okay, I'm going to pay some debt down and I'm going to invest at the same time. Once they put their money in the stock market, especially with the stocks that I give people, usually they had, like, this year on average, every woman that I invested with had a 1,200% return. That means the money that they invested, they had a profit margin of 1,200% at the end of December 2020. So that's just kind of how it goes. But once you start understanding that you can do things to make money without having to work for it, you just kind of get hooked on it, right? Now you're like, well, shit, this was easy, And so I expect it to just keep going. They now have IRA in place, which is a retirement plan. They've talked to somebody about tax planning. They've talked to somebody about planning for insurance purposes. They've talked to somebody about estate planning. Like, these are just like the elements that I'm trying to introduce into their lives, so then they can work on them for the next couple of years. It's not going to get fixed overnight, but now you have all the resources in place to build a solid foundation over time, right? So that's just kind of how it goes.
I love it.
That was a lot of talking to get to
No,
one.
I love it. Look, I love it, guys. Look, okay, so first of all, there is a common thread between me being in the accounting part, bookkeeping, taxes and stuff, and you being on the other side, the personal finance. So I'm on the business finance side, and so that's the major difference. If you hear people say I specialize in personal finance, that's personal, that's the individual. When they're an accountant, that's business finance. Okay.
Listen,
All right.
I'm gonna pause you. You don't know how many people is like, can you help me? No, somebody. I had a client come and say, I tried to use a zero-based budget for my business. Boo. This is for personal finance. You talking two different languages right now. Just because everything is money, everything is finance. Personal finance and business finance, they're not the same.
Yes.
They are not the same. So I 100% agree with you on that.
Yes. No. Look. So, guys. So, with that being said, the accounting part, I'm getting the same. My first sessions. Let me be honest. My first 6 months is more so counseling and building confidence and building them as the CEO mentally, and getting them to understand the importance of paperwork and getting a consistent structure and discipline with the paperwork. And so now from your side, you're saying you're doing a lot of consoling as well. So that's just showing that when it comes to money in the African American community, we are traumatized. We are traumatized. There's a lot of back history that we have to break for us to really start to attract all of the money that we all are worth. So a lot of us have money blocks and stuff because of our past. So I try to break that on the business side, and you break that on the personal side, right?
100%, yes.
Because if I don't break their money blocks, they won't be able to feel confident or comfortable selling and
100%.
posting. Like, even the money blocks even stop them from posting.
100%.
Okay, guys. So look, I've been taking my little notes. So I also said budget doesn't equal broke. Okay, so for all of y'all that think when a person say I want a budget that they broke, does not mean you're broke, and it doesn't have to break you.
I posted a video about that 2 days ago.
Wow.
I
Wow.
said, listen, do you just logically thinking, who you think needs a budget? A person who has excess money or a person who doesn't? Who
Doesn't.
needs to learn how to manage money more? A person who has money that they need to manage, or a person who is just making ends meet and really doesn't have anything you know left at the end of the month. Like, the origin of budgeting didn't come from broke people. It came from rich people or well-off people who needed to understand what to do with their money so they could keep their money.
Right.
Like, why do you think like I'm on a budget means broke when the origin of budgeting didn't come from people who didn't have? It just logically doesn't even make sense. But
Love.
that's one of those. And when you were just speaking, the mindset, I used to get asked all the time, what's the number one thing that you think people need to really focus on in personal finance? And I used to say budgeting, 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 right? But the reality is the mindset is definitely number one.
Yeah.
Like, definitely number one, you know?
Mm-mm-mm. So, guys, what we're going to do, I just asked all of you to go follow Star on all social media platforms. It's for Instagram. She building her _CA. On Facebook, it is she building her. Okay. And on LinkedIn, it's her full name, Star Melanson. Did I pronounce that right? Melanson.
It's Melanson.
Melanson. Okay, sorry. And then Twitter, she building her. And head over to our website as well. Do you have anything going on, Star? Like a new book release or anything?
I have my stock investment report. It's called the Star Method. I open the subscription to that bi-monthly, so every other month. And so this report was born out of my out of consulting women, two type of women. One woman who's like, listen, I went through one of your classes or one of your programs. I understand the stock market. I get it. I know what's good. I know what's bad. I know how to read the charts. I know all the stuff. I ain't got time. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, a mom, a wife. I got a household. I don't have time to keep up with the stock market. Can you just tell me what to invest in? That's what I kept hearing. And then the other woman was like, because I only open my private group that I teach about stocks twice a year. So they're like, I haven't done it yet. I don't really know about stock market, but I know that I need to be investing. And I don't want to just keep investing based off what I see on Instagram. So both of those women just those two women kept reappearing in different forms. And so the Star Method was born. Basically, it's just a report that gives you four categories of stock, which are like dividend payers, stock that's good for retirement, and then like what's called trends, meaning we hear about the trendy stock that's out, DoorDash, Tesla, Airbnb, like the trendy stocks that come about that you might want to invest in. I just give you a breakdown, just a few stocks in each category, and I say, hey, look, if nothing else, buy these. And then everything else that you see on social media that you want to dibble and dabble in, add that on top of it. But if you buy these, at least you know that when you get to retirement or when you get to want to send your kids to school, or when you want to buy that investment property, or when you want to pay for your kid's wedding, whatever it is, you know that the stocks that I gave you, they're going to be there and they're going to have your back. They're going to be making you money regardless of what else you put inside your portfolio. So the Star Method is open right now. It closes at the end of January and it doesn't open up again until March. But you can find that on my website under Work With Me. You can find it in my Instagram bio under the Star Method. So it's accessible.
Okay. So guys, definitely if you know you need some type of guidance, especially for women, you want to check out Star Method program, guys, so you can get that hands on and just be in a community. She has a community of women, like-minded women, okay?
The Prosperity Tribe.
Yes, the Prosperity Tribe. So what I would like for you guys to do, share the video. We're going to let Star take a quick little break and we'll be right back. many entrepreneurs fail is because of their self-avoidance, that lack of self-accountability, and really focusing on yourself. So many of the times we're afraid to leverage relationships because we also didn't know we didn't do all the work that we needed to do. So take advantage of what Raven just said. If you have friends that are in high places, leverage those relationships, but make sure you do it strategically and make sure there's some strategy behind it. Many of you are starting businesses because it looked like it, everybody else is doing it. It looked cool. It looked this, and it's not around your purpose and your passion.
Hello.
So what many of you are doing is you're taking those shortcuts in those businesses that you guys presently have because you never initially started up on the right foot. Because that's one of the things when I ask new startups, they're not clear. They cannot tell me the age, the demographics, the income, the avatar of their client. So from your perspective, how important is identifying your target market and getting that business off the ground? That the millennials want the success right now, right away. They don't have the courage to continue past year one if they had a year of failures. So now, if you are that millennial and you've quit on every idea that you started or every new business, stop and put in some work for at least a year or two in something consistently, and then judge your success off of that. You cannot judge your success because you didn't got a Shopify page and you put it up there and you put the link in your Instagram and nobody bought for over 6 months. Like, you cannot say you did your job by just doing those few basic steps. You have to do the leg work. So books like Raven's workbook, The Game Changer, is that part of the leg work that I see from my experience, many millennials try to avoid. Hey guys, welcome back to the first episode, season 3, Trump, of the Money Zone on Rip Radio, on RipRadioNetwork.com. Guys, we have an amazing woman here, Star, the creator of the Prosperity Tribe. She helped women budget, save, break money blocks, guys, and in turn invest and build generational wealth. It's choppy. And build generational wealth. So guys, please head over to her Instagram. Follow this amazing woman. I know I looked on her Instagram. She does give amazing content and advice. You just don't want to miss out. So, Star, before we went on break, we broke down a budget. It don't have to break you either. So, we're gonna now kind of veer into. We're gonna veer into the stock aspect of it, because I know the people are waiting. So my first question to you is, how could we build generational wealth? I know this may seem very, basic question, but how could investing in the stock market help us build generational wealth?
You're a little bit choppy and I cannot hear you. Can you hear me?
You're very clear.
You can hear me okay, just well?
Yeah, very well. Okay, so I said, can you hear me now?
I'm reading your lips. Can you mute and then unmute your mic, maybe?
You hear me?
No. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna try to read your lips. Go for it.
Oh my God. Okay, Trump, can you hear me? I can hear you fine. Okay. Alrighty. So my question to you, Star, if you can hear me, how can investing in the smart stock market help you build generational wealth?
How can you start in the stock market and build generational wealth?
How can investing or starting to invest? Well, how about?
Okay, wait. Give me 1 second.
Huh?
And I'm going to leave back out and come back in 2 seconds because it was so good a second ago when we were talking. We got to get back there. So give me 1 second. I'm going to come. Wait, no. Look at that. I can hear you.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
how does investing into the stock market assist us in building generational wealth?
Oh, great. Oh, like that question. Okay. So, first of all, it's a couple things, right? So we know that, like statistically, to be a millionaire, you have to have 7 streams of income, right? And so the reality is that none of us have enough hours in a day or time in our lives to just save our way into wealth. Okay. Like we can't exchange hand to hand our time or hours to get enough money to really build generational wealth on average, like, regular people. We're not talking about lottery winners or anything like that. And so that means that you have to have some form of um, what I call growing your money. Because a lot of people, when they think about, oh, I need to make more money, they want another business or a side hustle or things like that. But no one really focuses on, I mean, I know that you probably see this because tax is one of those areas where it's like, hey, you can really make money or, like save money on your taxes that contribute to you having more money, right? And so you have to figure out ways to grow the money that you already have coming in. And then when you think about investing, you cannot get on the side of wealth without investing somehow, right? And when you think about investing, you don't have that many tools, right? You have real estate, you have like venture capital, meaning you invest in businesses or cryptocurrencies, and then you have the stock market. That's really the only real avenues you have to figure out, hey, how can I grow? Like, how can I grow the money? And then for me, outside of cryptocurrency, the stock market is like the most passive form of doing that, right? Because even in real estate, there's some action behind it that you have to, to get you up to that point. So the stock market doesn't require a credit check, right? It's no minimum that you have to put down. You don't have to get a loan to get started, right? It's very flexible. And then the stock market, it sees green, right? It doesn't see black and white, male or female. It sees green. You're a name and you're a dollar amount. And so what happens there is you are able to purchase equity into companies through the stock market, right? And as long as these companies are doing well and they're profitable, you are doing well and you're profitable through the stocks that you purchased in the company. And so the way you secure generational wealth is by investing in stocks in companies that you believe have longevity, which some of them have already proven to us that they have longevity, like Coca-Cola, Clorox, right? These what we call dividend kings. That means these companies have survived depressions, economic collapses, all of these things, and they're still standing, they're still profitable. So you investing in companies that like that. Then you have like the Facebook, Netflix, Apple, the stuff that's not going anywhere, right? Like they're newer, but you know that they're in Tesla, you know that they're in the beginning phases of what's going to be a really long profitable road, right? And then the third way to invest in the stock market to secure generational wealth is through index funds, right? Because if you invest in Tesla or Apple, that's buying an individual stock, but sometimes you don't want to take on that much risk. And so you can invest in what's called index funds that really is a stock that, or a company that owns stock in a variety of companies, right? And so you can just buy shares into this one company who then has shares in a bunch of companies. So by way of that, you're invested in those companies. These are called index funds, and they're just a lot less volatile. They're slow gainers, but they are for the long haul. For you can put them in a trust and hand them down to your kids, kind of situations, right? Like as long as the stock market exists, and there's too many billionaires invested in the stock market for the stock market not to exist, regardless of what cryptocurrency people say, the stock market will be around. But as long as the stock market is around and it's thriving, your index funds will be doing the same thing, right? And so those three things, like investing in companies that are already established, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Clorox, old money, and then the newer technology-based ones that have a good road ahead, and then those index funds. So those three layers will help you secure generational wealth, regardless of all the other stuff that you want to, play with or dabble in along the way. Those three layers will allow you to put that stuff, like I said, in a trust and hand it down to your kids. Or you can purchase these kind of things in the name of your business, so that your your business owns more assets, and you can be passing these businesses that own assets down to your kids.
Girl, you talking. You talking. So no, I've heard a little bit about that index fund stuff, and then but the way that you put it, it just simplified it so much to me. So it's basically a broad diversification of many stocks. That's what reduces the risk, because it's so many different. But I didn't get that easily when I was reading in my TD Ameritrade little account thing. I didn't get that. Just from what you said, I got. Am I right first before I say I got it?
No, you are right. So the difference between index funds, ETFs, and individual stocks, I love explaining that, because it is so much jargon associated with it that people like, what?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. An individual stock is going to be you going into your brokerage account and buying Walmart, Apple, blah, 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 whatever. Those are the most risky, because the value of the stock that you own is directly tied to how that one company is doing. Then you have ETFs, which is an exchange traded fund, right? That's going to be a basket of stocks or securities within an industry. So I don't want to buy Southwest Airline. I want to buy a basket, right, that holds Southwest Airline, Delta Airline, Spirit Airline, Alaska Airline. I want to buy this, so it's less risky than just buying the one airline. Now, however my stocks are doing is going to be how the whole industry is doing. So I don't have to worry about this CEO being a dumbass. It's like very unlikely that all the airline CEOs is going to come out and do something crazy. So now I want to buy a basket, right? That's an ETF. And then an index fund just goes one step further, because there's so many stocks, thousands of stocks, right? You have these different indexes that track just parts of the stock market, right? Like the S&P 500 tracks the largest 500 companies in America. The Russell 2000, they track the smallest 2,000 companies in America, right? So if you want to just be exposed to those 500 best performing stocks in America, you just buy index funds for the S&P 500. And that's just the kind of three layers.
That's enough, Star. They got to come and do the Star method now. Girl, I loved it. I don't know, guys. I'm just so upset. You see, the devil was trying to work on the Star. We may, let's have our team connect and see if you would love to come back, because you have a sense of ease. It's very simple. And so I know just from my audience listening to this, they're going to come over there. Guys, make sure you tell them Folasade sent you, okay? Don't be just going over there, not letting her know it was me that exposed her to y'all. But just, I know how you guys feel, because she just took a chunk of confusion off my head. So I know for all of you that have your money invested into the stock market, you probably read a little stock and you still confused too. That's what the Star Method is here. Method is here for. You go check out the Prosperity Tribe as well. And guys, just do me one favor, go and follow her. The way she put that, and just it rolled off your tongue. She pulled out the bag. One of my moves, guys. Pulled out the basket. Like I love it. And I know you know your stuff. And don't be afraid. So before we go, guys, don't forget to follow her. But before I close out, I just want to say, don't be afraid of what you don't know. That is why we are here. What I would like for you to be afraid of is of the fear that's keeping you away from ringing our offices, getting in our DMs, because of the money barriers and blocks that you've inherited. We're trying to break those generational curses so you guys can in turn build generational wealth. Star, is there anything else you want to leave the audience before you go?
I just want to reiterate what you just said. Just, investing, and specifically the stock market, is the barrier between the haves and the have-nots. That's just the reality of it. So the jargon and the lingo that they put around the stock market is intentional. It is by design. It is to keep people out, to keep people saying, oh no, that's just too much. Oh no, I ain't got time for that. It's there for that reason. So if you subscribe to that and you say, oh no, I can't, you will forever, you're all, you're the next generation, your kids, your grandkids, they will always be behind economically, right? So just like she said, don't be afraid of what you don't know. Reach out, ask the question, do the thing, buy the stock, just do it. Just do it. Just jump in and do it. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you again. I'm gonna have to bring you on Instagram Live. You're an amazing host, by the way. I absolutely.
I'm getting better, girl. I'm getting better. You know, my personality is a little different. Everybody don't accept my energy, and that's fine. But we get there. We're getting better. So I just want to say thank you so much, Star, for coming on the Money Phone and just gracing your presence with us today. I know we've gotten a wealth of information from you, and please, guys, please hit over there, show her some love. Join the Star Method, message her, bother her, look, smother her, okay? All right, guys, so happy new year, and I just wish everyone amazing success, money, and financial freedom. Have an amazing night, guys. By going to bit.ly/TMZ, all caps, get notified, and look out for what we have coming out in store and all of our guests coming on the show, guys. Tonight was amazing. I hope that you guys learned a lot, and I'll see you